What is up, everyone? I figured since I'm in Vancouver for the next week or 2 weeks before we take off on another little couple week trip, I'd do a series of informational videos. I have a whole lot of questions that I have written down that I've accumulated over time, and my Patreon just gave me a whole stack of great questions and awesome video ideas, so I figured we'd just make a series of just talking videos. So this would be video number 1. The reason why I wanted to make this is because when I get back to Vancouver, because I've been vlogging here since I very first started my channel, sometimes I get days where I'm just not overly inspired to go do anything. I was born and raised here. And if you all have been around this world for a while, you know when you're born and raised somewhere, sometimes you just get that itch to get out. So when I come back here sometimes, the inspiration levels go. So this is a great time to just talk about van life. Let's go. If you're new around here, my name is Chrome and I live in a 2004 Ford E250 extended cargo van with my little English bulldog. His name is CRUZ. He's in the van getting his much needed puppy sleep. Sometimes I think that's all he does is sleep and eat. Hold on, he's a bulldog. That's what his life's gonna be like the rest of his life. Anyway, that's not the topic of this video. Somebody asked me a question and it kind of made me think. Sometimes people ask me stuff and I'm like, is that really something people are thinking about? But you know what? If one person's gonna ask it and then somebody else is probably already thinking about it. So diving into the first video in this, can I call this a series? Nah, just a list, just a bunch of informational stuff. So what do I sell? What do I get rid of? How do I know what to keep before I start van life? So if you are in that process of moving from an old life into this new life, and you don't know what you should take with you, here's a simple, easy way to think of it. Think about van life as you're packing to go camping. And that's the truth. When you go camping, you grab the bare necessities to get by. What do you grab? Beer? Okay, we won't include that. You grab a stove, a cooler, utensils, something to sleep on, and some clothes. What more do you really need? And that's the truth. So when it comes to packing up what you need for this new lifestyle, treat it like you're packing up to go camping. Don't drag around stuff that you don't need. Sure, pack your outdoor essential stuff, like if you're into kayaking or rock climbing or mountain biking, of course bring that stuff with you. Or if you're a photographer, of course bring that stuff with you. But otherwise, that's it. And I know packing up homes, packing up big apartments is a lot of stuff to go, whoa, this is a lot to get rid of. So you might go through the same process that I did. I had a huge pile of stuff that I just could not let go of. So I got myself a big storage locker. It was like half the size of my backside of my van. It was a big storage locker, and I packed it about 3/4 full. There's videos back on the early side of my channel where you guys can actually see my storage locker. But you guys might go through the same process, and it's okay to go through this process. It's okay to keep the things in your life that you're like, I just can't let it go. And there's nothing wrong with that. So you put that pile up, you get yourself a storage locker if you have to. But you might do what I did. I went from the big one to a smaller one, to a smaller one, to selling everything that I thought I wanted or needed in my life or I might use in my future. I got rid of all of it because something didn't feel right about having that address attachment to my storage locker, because it felt like every time I took off for a month, I always had that little chain stuck to the storage locker and I never really felt free. it was giving me a sense of just like, I was locked down, you know what I'm saying? So what I did was, I ended up going through it little bits at a time. I went through, I'm like, man, I haven't touched this in 6 months. It's gotta go. I haven't touched this in 6 months. It's gotta go. And this, it's gotta go. And then I found creative ways to take the last few things in there that I really honestly needed, and I put them in my van. So now at this point in van life, I've been in van life for just a little over a year and a half, and everything that I own, everything is in this van. This one, everything. And that is insane to think about. You know, I never had a huge condo. The condo I lived in was like 530 square feet, so it wasn't overly big, but I did have a lot of stuff that I was deeply attached to. Like I had sound equipment gear and a big studio and stuff to do radio show things on and just make DJ mixes and talk on my mixes and stuff. And that stuff was extremely hard to get rid of, so I kept it all. Thinking that, I don't know, maybe one day I might rent a space and build a studio for myself so I can live in my van and have a studio. Just little thought processes that I had before that aren't even in my world right now. So if you gotta go through that kind of process, don't feel bad about keeping things, because I know that there's some things that have a serious emotional attachment to. Because, oh, my aunt bought this giant cabinet that I just can't get rid of. I get it. So make the transitions that you have to make in the process that you have to make them in. There's no right or there's no wrong way to do things. Do things that feel right to you. So if you got to go through that process of holding on to some things and paying for a big storage locker for a while, because I think what's going to happen is once you get into this life and you settle yourself in, and you realize, you know, I think it's time to just get rid of that stuff, and you will. Or something will come up and arise where you can give those things a home that you feel really good about. So that sentimental attachment to you, you feel good because now somebody else is going to have a beautiful attachment to it as well. So go through this process on your own. But my suggestion is sell everything you own. Like I said, keep the thing that makes you passionate. If it's the kayak, keep it. If it's the big freaking camera with the ginormous lens, keep it. Those things you gotta keep because it fills the creative and adventurous person you have inside. But otherwise, all you really need, one cup, one plate, one bowl, one knife, one fork, a lighter to light your single stovetop burner. No more 4 stovetop things in a big oven because you just don't need it. It's the basic, simple fundamentals. Toothbrush, toothpaste, gel if you want to be a douchebag like me and always want to you know what I'm saying? Just the bare bones and the basics, and you will be shocked that that's all you really honestly need in your life. And it feels so much better. The less clutter, the less things you have, and just the simplicity of what life is like, without attachments to big, heavy, bulky things that aren't doing anything for you. They're adding no pure benefit to your life. They're not making you happier. They're not making you more excited. And they don't add any quality of life to your day. It's so simple when you cut it down to just what you need. It's a beautiful thing to be minimal. Even if you're not getting into van life because you want to be a minimalist, because I got into van life, I didn't care about being a minimalist. I didn't care. And now that by default I am one, sort of, I accumulated a few things that probably shouldn't have. Come on, man, everything I own is in my van. To me, that's insane. It's insane that I have an entire home in this cargo van. An entire one. We're talking like bedroom, kitchen, bathroom, everything in this. Before I had 2 parking spots at my condo. I had my condo, and then I had a condo full of stuff. And now it's all in one thing. Got 1 vehicle, 1 home, 1 of everything. And it feels so good. I have a couple of forks and a couple of knives, which I don't need because I only need 1. But guys, life is better when you simplify everything. So if you're worried about this process and it's a little bit overwhelming for you, don't be overwhelmed by it. Put a stack in the corner of things that you just can't get rid of, and just know that you're gonna have to flip the bill in a storage locker until you get that feeling inside from living in the vehicle, whatever you're choosing to live in, that frees you of wanting to hold on to these material items. Life is better when it's simple, guys. Hopefully this helped you guys with some people that are having that little rocky experience with, what do I get rid of? Everything. Simple as that, everything.